welcome everybody to another episode of the Cobra Daytona Build. On this episode, I've got Dave here. So you guys have seen his Type 65, the most abused Type 65 on the planet, bar none. If you guys can find someone that's got one that's more abused, send it my way, but I'll tell you right now, it ain't gonna happen. So everybody, this is Dave. You guys have seen videos of him, some photos. Dave, you know, you built this how many years ago?
Its title is a 2018. It's a Gen 3 Type 65, number 16.
And why did you pick that car? Tons of cars out there. Why that one?
Well, I was tracking a 1972 Chevelle, and was going to go full NASCAR with it, full cage, all that kind of stuff. And I decided to keep it more original and not cut it up, and then build something independent of that car. And I spec Miata at Sonoma, formerly called Sears Point or whatever it is.
Change the name all the time on that
just
place.
did a track day with a spec Miata, which was great, except for the power. In the straightaways, you're kind of waiting around for things to happen, full throttle, hanging out. I thought, what I really want to build is a V8 Miata. And then thought about the Type 65, realizing that was the best of everything.
Huh,
fully caged, V8, 5-speed, independent rear if you want it. Basically, it's a V8 Miata, bigger tires, and that's why I built that. Yeah.
Interesting. That's something I didn't even really know. So let's go into some details on the car. Engine?
It's a Ford Racing crate motor.
Okay.
With it's a B cam. It was their fully forged Boss block crate motor from Ford, 345 horsepower, pretty mild, but it revs well. I'd say it's adequate.
Sounds way better at idle than the Coyote, just so y'all know.
It's about a 13-second flat quarter-mile car.
And
so
then
nothing scary. But
transmission?
It's a TKO 600 with the 0.8 or thereabouts 5th gear.
Okay. And then you had the IRS, but I know you just made a big change in the IRS. You swapped IRSs. Why is that?
Yeah, I built the car with the brand new Ford Racing 355 rear end, and realized with the close ratio 5-speed TKO and doing these high-speed sort of 100, 120, 130 mile an hour Nevada runs for the open road challenge, that I'm driving at 5,000 RPMs for a long time.
Okay.
And the oil temps go up, my stress level goes up, and I thought, let's kick off some RPMs off the top of that and put a 315 in there. So I would say the hardest part of the build was actually putting the differential in the frame. That's the first thing I did when I built the car. From reading up on having the manual, reading up on it, I realized that's the hardest part, putting that IRS in there. So, first thing I did, and here I am, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later,
doing it again.
Changing the IRS, wondering why am I doing this?
So my question, talking about putting that IRS in, that differential in the very first thing you did you have any fears, or were you going, what did I get into? I mean, are you thinking to yourself, damn, why did I do this? Or do you just keep plowing through it?
No real fear. It's just one foot in front of the other.
Okay.
The key for me was not having any time constraint.
Okay.
And lowering any expectations of time or quality or performance. In fact, when I bought the kit, I was quite skeptical that I could actually get the car licensed for the street. The SB 100 process, all of that. I thought, you know, if this car never makes it on the street, that's okay. It'll be a dedicated track car.
That was always, you know, I built my Cobra. The registration was the one thing I hated. back and forth to the DMV. It was a pain in the rear, and I almost didn't build the Daytona for that reason. I was like, I don't want to go through that again. And I don't think I will go through it again because it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't a big deal. It's just 5 steps, one, then the other, no time constraint, relax, let it go.
Okay.
And it happened, okay.
Okay, now I'm getting scared. You enjoy driving this thing? You hop in at any time and just go? I mean, what's...
I would say it took about 5,000 miles to learn how to actually drive it competently.
Okay.
Because you don't fit the Daytona. Actually, the Daytona doesn't fit you. You have to end up fitting the Daytona. The way you're in it, and the way you control it, and the way you drive it. And it takes a while. I would say it's the hardest car I've ever learned to drive. But now it's like I hop in, it's like driving a Camry. It's like, yeah, whatever, I'm just driving my car.
So you've pushed, you know, Miatas obviously on the track, other cars on the track. How does the Daytona, your Type 65, compare? Is it that much a step up, technicality-wise, difficulty-wise, to actually drive fast on the track? Because you drive that car, I mean, you're doing what, 126s at Thunderhill West, which is as fast as any car out there, any Porsche GT3. I mean, you're up there at those groups, and you're an excellent driver. Is it that much harder to drive the Miata, or you just got this thing mastered?
I think what it really comes down to, and I'm not racing the car, these are just track days.
Yep.
But I'm trying to drive the car at my limit and its limit. And driving any car at either of those limits combined, mine and the car, is equally as difficult. Because you're on the edge, whether it's this car or that car, you bring it up to its limit, and that's where you're driving it at. And that's where it's very satisfying to be.
Yeah, because you drive that car. I think there's still more left in the car.
I think if I was less afraid of destroying the car, then I would probe the limits a little more. I know the limits of certain turns, but there are some things in my head that I know I could take a little faster, brake later, but...
So I'm gonna change subjects here. You've done, you know, autocross, drag racing, skid pad, high speed, you know, road rally events. You've done it all. What's your most favorite? What do you really look at and go, gotta go do this again? It's gotta be one out of all of those things you've done. Other than coming up to Alice's and hanging out with your buddy.
Yeah, well, there's always that. I think the Nevada Open Road Challenge, Silver State Classic, those events, because although you're driving either 60 miles out and back for 120 at a claimed speed, say 120, or 90 miles one way, 2 events, May and September, it's not only the event, but there's a parade, car show, bunch of people, banquet.
It's a gathering.
It's a big, huge event, like a 4-day festival type thing. So I really like that. The driving's just part of it. You know, less than an hour of driving in a 4-day thing.
A lot of money for an hour of driving, huh?
Yeah, probably a couple $1,000s an hour if you look at it that way.
So that's your favorite right there.
That's my favorite. It is. I do like open track days, particularly doing different tracks. So I've had this car at Laguna Seca, Sonoma, or Sears Point, Thunderhill, and Portland International Raceway. I'd like to kind of go further and further and do more tracks.
Good.
Further from home.
Because your car's very raw, very, You know, mine's more of a street car. Yours is pure race car. If you could do it different, what would you do? Change engines, trannies, rears, do different. I mean, what would you do?
The only thing different, and I will say the car has really no cosmetic or luxury items in it. It's all raw aluminum, and the paint is just really basic. And the idea being that if I trashed the car, I wouldn't cry about my art project burned up in flames or something like that. I would say another 50 or 100 horsepower would be good. If I knew the car would have as much traction as it does, I'm running 100 treadwear R compound tires. If I knew the car would have that much traction, like in a straight line, I would put another 100 horsepower in there.
So a nice 363 stroker motor would be ideal for that car.
Sure, or a Coyote.
500 horse,
Yeah.
Do you ever think about going to Coyote? Would you even do that, or you like the old school push rod type motor?
I call the engine that's in the car, which has 20,000 miles on it, my training engine. So when I'm done training, like training wheels, I'll change it out to something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the car is abused. I think the car is well used.
You
It
do
goes
take
up
very
on a
good-
lift after every track event.
Yep.
On a lift, fully inspected.
Yeah, you do that very well. So, but the car sees more action and more different events than I think any other Type 65. Because, you know, like Brian back in Georgia, he's building a race car. That car will see, you know, track days. That'll see races in the Trans Am series, but it's going to see one every couple of months. Then some testing. That's it. Your car's seeing road miles, autocross, drag races. I mean, how many times you've been down the drag strip? You think in its lifetime?
There was a Shelby event a couple years ago at Sonoma where they have a drag strip, and they opened it up at lunchtime where you could just do as many drag pulls as you want, you know, quarter-mile pulls, and there was no line because nobody wanted to really go beat on their car over and over again. Quarter-mile pull. I think I did 20 or 25 runs like in one afternoon, like at lunchtime.
Yeah.
Just going quarter mile back. So 5 miles of full throttle, you know, 20 quarter-mile pulls.
Yep.
It's kind of funny. So I'd say there's 20, and then maybe 10 or so Wednesday afternoon drags where you get
3 or 4 rounds.
Four runs.
So,
So
you're basically near 100 probably
something
quarter-mile
like
runs.
that, yeah.
That's kind of what I figured. That's a lot of drag racing. You know, then you got the autocrosses where, you know, they're not super hard on the car, and the tracks. I mean, the car has been well used. But that's what you built it for, and you might as well enjoy it. You're doing that.
I'm not saving it for anybody else.
Yep.
It's like, it's for me, and it's been sort of a catalyst or a vessel that provides an opportunity to do things. So once you have the car, you can do this or that or meet these people. It opens up all kinds of conversations. It's really been a catalyst to meet people and do all kinds of things all over the place.
So to probe
it's not just a car. Really.
To probe that meet people thing, how many people have you really come in contact with? What's some of the best experiences with meeting people with that car? Not talking racing, or just what have you really experienced with meeting people and opening up the world with that car?
I don't know. It just seems like everybody's interested in it. When I'm in it driving, I forget that I'm driving it. I'm just in my car driving. I see out this window and that's what I'm doing. But you realize everyone's looking at you. People are stopping, like, why are they doing this? Oh yeah, I'm driving this the coolest car on the planet, basically.
Video cameras going
So you just never know. I've just met so many people I've forgotten, and you just instantly make friends. That's not why I built the car. It's almost a burden to have to understand that everywhere I go, I'm going to have to be aware of, I'm driving the coolest car on the planet. People want to know about it.
Yep.
So you have to embrace that, and that's fine.
Well, and that's one of the beautiful things about those cars. You know, you come to a big car event, and there's Camaros, there's Porsches, there's Corvettes everywhere. But you're lucky if you have one or two. Usually you're lucky to have one of these Type 65s. Unless you and I are together, then there's always two there. And sometimes we'll have a third in, but for most times it's you and me.
Yeah, that Corvette comment's interesting. I could have bought a Corvette, and then I'll be done with it. Well, there it is in the garage, done. And that would be like, well, I'm done. But the Type 65, you embrace the journey of building it, and you're never done because you're always tweaking it, inspecting it, going different places with it. The Corvette would be like an instant, like,
done.
I don't know, instantly done, and then you're like, well,
now what do I do?
I'm let
Polish it?
down. I'm let down. This is a constant. The Type 65 has been a constant feed for my addiction, as opposed to just one cup of good coffee and then I'm done. Like, wow.
Yeah, you drop down your 80 grand, get your new Corvette, and go, okay, now I can just wash it.
I'd like to have a Corvette, maybe someday, but This is a different thing.
I got that.
Check the straps again after a few miles of driving, and off we go for about 9 or 10 hours. Saturday tech inspection. It looks a little crooked. Shh. I won't tell anybody.
Well, wait a second, you took off the whole top part of it.
We got 3 Factory 5 Shelby Daytona replicas. 3 of them. All from California.
I agree. Right? Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. Makes it look like you have to go. You gotta have fun with it, man.
Burning fossil fuels while I still can.
That's
That's David Tabor. All right. Good to see you at this end. Good run. Number 72, Jonathan Richter. And P, Corvette. So Malcolm has told me 3 antiques.
Yes, sir.
Car number 95.
Thinking that it's smoke coming, and he's like, he's jumping up and down trying to get
Looking toward the future, any major changes to the car, any huge events you've got coming up? I mean, just in the next 6 months, a year, what are your thoughts, plans? What are you thinking of doing with this thing?
I don't know. I'm taking the SCCA novice class, a 3-day course at Thunder Hill this coming weekend, to then maybe open up some new opportunities to do some real wheel-to-wheel racing.
Good.
Whether it's that car, modified perhaps to do that, or some other car, I don't know. I will still autocross and do the Nevada Open Road Challenge with that Type 65. Track days, though, I don't know. It might be time to do other things. Let's see.
Well, keep us informed, because
another Type 65 were to make it to any given track, I would certainly bring mine. We've yet to do, what's the one down in LA? Willow Springs.
Willow Springs.
Big
well,
Willow.
I think we need to put Willow Springs on
Willow.
it, and then we can get Patrick and have 3 Type 65s down there at a track day. So, of course, Patrick's got a little issue with excessive oil consumption, but hopefully that'll get solved soon. No, this has been a very good interview. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks.
So we're going to throw us up some videos of the car, and hopefully we'll see more of you in the near future, which I'm sure we will.
Okay,
So.
great. Thanks, Greg.